Alright guys, so welcome back to the channel. Make sure you're comfortable because this is going to be a long video. This is a Jada 1/64th. It's humongous. It's a 2010 Chevy Tahoe. It's a Georgia State Police. And we're going to change this to a Puerto Rico State Police. You can see the light bar is crooked. We're going to have to fix that. Yeah, you can see we have some glue issues. This tends to happen with Jada and green light models, where they use glue to attach some of the parts, and the glue tends to run because they do too much. Like I said, the Jada cars are a lot bigger than Hot Wheels, so we'll see how this turns out. And even though it's bigger, it tends to be a lot more complicated because they do have a lot of plastic small pieces like M2s, which you have to make sure you take all of them out, or when you throw the car into the paint stripper, they will get damaged. You can see we have a computer there in the center console. Very nice detailed interior. This is the base. The back wheels are fixed. This is the front axle. It is rear riders. Very nicely detailed rim. And there you go. So I'm trying to figure out how to take everything apart. This is the first time I do one of these. So you basically pop the tab and then slide to the back to get the dash out. The dash has some channels there that also hold the doors in place. The doors are held together with two JIS screws. And this is my JIS screwdriver. JIS, I've repeated this a while back. JIS stands for Japanese Industry Standard. So you can see the door has a plastic mold glued to the back, and most likely that's where all the glue ran out, and it's all in the chassis. So we're gonna have to take the doors apart too. We gotta take out the tailgate to take out that little window. So another screw comes out very easily. And then I'm using the little Apple adapter for the Dremel here. I find that it's the best tool to use if you know how to hold it in place without it wandering all over the place and damaging the rest of the car. So the windshield is held in place with by two mushroom posts. I like to call them rivets, although a lot of people don't like when people call them rivets, but it is what it is. That back one still needs a little more. Don't worry, I don't break the windshield. I'm constantly moving out of frame because my eyesight is not very good the last couple of years, so I want to make sure that I can see what I'm doing without messing it up. So you can see the windshield came off. I'm trying to push the light bar. It did have glue, but it came out very easily too. And there I use the X-Acto knife, and it basically comes off. And there I notice that the holes are not drilled correctly. That's why it's crooked. So I'm gonna have to fix that later. It kind of sucks that I got a crappy one, but I guess it makes for good content because I can show you how to fix it. So once I've taken everything apart, I still got the push bar to take off. It has two melted plastic tabs on the inside, so I just cut them with the X-Acto blade there. And then all I gotta do is push it, and it's gonna come out. So who's keeping track of all the parts that I've taken apart so far? So that's the tailgate. Trying to pay attention so I don't cut myself, which I don't want to brag, but I did cut myself. So it has 4 melted tabs in the back. Once I cut them, all I have to do is push, and that back window comes out pretty easy too. That's another part that needs to be taken apart. You see the hinge. I'm using this tool that's for working with cell phones. You can see that it's very, very thin. I'm going to try to leave all links to every tool that I use down in the video description. I used this tool for the Corgi Mustang that I restored a few weeks ago. So you can see that there's glue all over the place. So I have to use the X-Acto knife just to find a spot, just to pry it open a little bit, and then I could go back to using that tool to take apart cell phones. And then I was surprised to see that the plastic inner part of the door was a one part with the window. You see it has a lot of glue. So check this out. So the window and the inners is just one part. Isn't that crazy? So I put the doors back on and the tailgate so I could throw it in on the paint stripper, keep everything in one piece. I wasn't sure about the front grille, if it was plastic or not, because sometimes I've been fooled before, but it did feel like metal. So into the paint stripper it went. So this is how it came out. I'm using a 1/16 drill bit here to measure out, and it's same size as the holes that were drilled in the factory. So what I'm gonna do is I'm using my Dremel, and I don't want to like make only one of the holes big. I want to the one that's in the back, try to move it a little bit to the front, and then the one on the other side, move it a little bit on the back. So you get a little bit movement on both the holes until I could get the light bar to get aligned. It took me a good 20-30 minutes doing it slowly, but a little bit here and a little bit on the other side, and I was able to get it aligned. You see? And the good thing, the light bar is big, so it covers up everything. So here is the casting already painted. It was a kind of a, it wasn't easy because it's a Rust-Oleum rattle can, but you know, I've used it before. I find that the color looks very similar to the original ones. And here I'm using some water slides from the Second Chance Redlines webpage at scredlines.com. If you use code DSC164 at checkout, you're gonna get a 10% discount on anything that you buy on the website. So he has water slides and different parts for restoring all Hot Wheels. I think he also has paint. I got a few of the paints in. I haven't tested them yet, but I will pretty soon. So now I'm just making sure that everything is aligned as best as I could get it. Now in real life, the Chevy Tahoe was not very common. That's why I wanted to get a Chevy Tahoe. The Ford Explorer was, more common to see out in the street. So I rip a piece of paper towel. I find that it works the best. You can see how it's sucking up all the water and the micro set and the micro sole. I was worried that the water slide were not going to fit because, like I said at the beginning, Jada toys, they tend to be very big. But, they ended up looking very nice at the end. So I'm going to do the roof. There's a number. There's a few different things on the sheet. I'll show it to you pretty soon. I didn't use all of them because there is no one way on how to do this. Not all patrol cars had the same information. So the number tends to go behind the light bar. So that's where I put it. If I had the time, maybe I would have sanded down the roof, because the real car doesn't have the roof rack. But it still looks good, in my opinion. And also, you can see that I painted the whole thing with the doors on, which makes it a lot easier. So here's the side. There's a little hand that says 911. I will cut that piece apart and I will glue it or apply it separately. Just because, like I said, I wasn't sure that everything was going to line up because this Jada is so big. So this water slide, most likely it'll fit perfectly like on a Matchbox 4 Explorer. But since this is so big, I had to push it forward just a little bit. But in my opinion, it still looks very, very nice. In the real life, those white stripes, which are basically chevron stripes, they are reflective. So I'm just trying to, make a decision on where to push it forward or not. So note to self, next time you do this, if you have opening doors, at least try to cut the front part also. I think that would have been a better idea for this, and I could have probably done a better position of the stripes. Maybe push them back a little. But you gotta live and learn. I've been using the water slide from the Second Chance Red Lines for many years now. Many years. And I've never had any problems with them. You can see I use microset and microsol to make the water slide contour to the shape of the door handle and to the grooves, especially in between the doors where they're gonna open. I want to make sure the water slide bends inner, so when I decide to cut it so I could open up the door again, it'll look better. So now I'm gonna do the little hand there. And here's a little tip with these water slides, you can't leave them in water that long. You can see that I'm not using water for this. I'm using a wet sponge, but they're only there for less than a minute. If you wait too much, it's gonna be very difficult to apply them. That was pretty simple. After that, I'm gonna do the tailgate, and that's where things get a little bit different, because some of them has like the phone number and all that stuff. I didn't use the phone number. It is on the sheet. I just didn't use it. So this Chevy Tahoe has like a license plate holder in the tailgate, but it also has it on the bumper. So I did that on the tailgate, and then I put the license plate on the bumper. There's a lot of parts, so it takes a while. This took me approximately, I want to say close to 40 minutes. but I wasn't in a rush. And I've said it in past video, if you're using a hair dryer to dry up like one side, and you then have to do another part, you have to make sure that the casting has cooled down, or the water slide is gonna stick. You can see it has numbers for that back window, but I didn't get to use them. So remember, scredlines.com. Discount code DSC164 for a 10% discount. So now I'm gonna do headlights. I started with a Sharpie, and the Sharpie was too big. I was afraid that I was gonna color outside the lines. So I started using the Vallejo Chrome here, with a very thin brush. This paint does not cover a lot, so it's a process where you do light coats and you wait for it to dry, and then another light coat until you start building that. They call it chrome, but it's about the same color as that gray Sharpie. It's not chrome like the Molotov pens. And I didn't want to use chrome because then I have to wait too much. I have to wait too long for that to dry. But overall, I think I'm very happy how the headlights came out. You'll be the judge. So with this thin brush, I could get very close to that edge without messing it up. And I'm using some powerful glasses here to be able to see this. I'm surprised I'm still on frame. Now I'm using the black. You can see I already did the other headlights. So like the other color, this is not going to cover a whole lot. I'm looking for it to get a little bit dark. Make it look like it has some kind of inner shades. It took a while to do headlights, but at the end it was worth it. I use quite a few different tools here to achieve it. So I'm gonna go to the tail lights, wait for that paint to dry up. Sharpie oil based red. Open tailgate to make sure I get that inner corner. These oil based Sharpie are very nice, especially if you're not planning on clear coating. They end up looking very shiny and bright. If you use acrylic paint, you definitely have to clear coat. I did clear coat this after I was done though, which makes that oil based paint look even nicer. There, I'm starting to cut to divide that water slide. I'm trying to be very careful so I don't scratch the paint. And I'm doing this before doing the clear coat. So there you can see I opened the door. I'm using more micro salt to make sure that edge is nice and glued down. But I forgot about the front of the door. That's why I said note to self. Make sure you cut the front. It didn't get damaged though. Right about there I noticed it, and I come back with the X-Acto knife and cut it. So if you're planning on doing this on the same vehicle, like I mentioned before, I think it's better if you separate it, and then it'll be, you only have to do one cut to get that door open again. By the way, the headlights are not done. We're gonna jump back into the headlights pretty soon. I'm just giving the paint time to dry. I saw an ad on Facebook about some very thin blades that you could bend, and I think they would have been perfect for this moment right here. I gotta see if I find that ad again. See if I look it up. See how much are they worth? Because they are super thin, and they're so thin that they're flexible, but they're still very sharp. They do a nice job cutting. So you can see the headlights. They look like like we started with. And now I'm using this fine tip Sharpie to add a little bit more dark tones in there. Now I'm using a orange oil-based Sharpie because the turn signals on this year Tahoe, they're right there on the headlight, on the outer corner. This orange Sharpie I think is the best for painting turn signals. I see a lot of people do them yellow, and I kind of see some older cars had kind of a yellow turn signal, but most they're really orange. So now I'm using a regular Sharpie, and then I'm gonna try to do the shape. On the original truck, it has like two semicircles inside. You can see that I'm not really pressing down, as I don't want the full color of the Sharpie to take over. I just want to create it in a way where you can see the difference and see the semicircles. And that's where I start to go out of frame. see, I'm doing the semicircles. Check it out. It's gonna look a lot better once I'm done clear coating. So here is what I did on the border. I used a gray Sharpie, and then I used a blue Milwaukee Sharpie to match the color of the paint. Check it out. My Puerto Rico police fleet is growing. Look at them headlights. They look awesome. Alright guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy this video. Look at them details in the back in there. I think this thing it turned out nice. Very nice. I'm very happy with it. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out.